that the second judge's case in the Collegium came into place because people feared that the excesses of the emergency could not be allowed to be repeated again.
That's right.
Now when you see what's happening, do you fear that there is another attempt by the executive?
Yes, of course I do fear.
To go back to the kind of emergency domination of the judiciary?
I do fear. That is why I make the suggestion that, I mean, there's no hallmark on the Collegium system that we must have this system and nothing else. I don't think anybody will say that. But the government says National Commission, I say yes, have a National Commission. Your own party had proposed it, had a bill, reintroduced that bill, that's all.
Is part of the problem also the quality of judges and the fact that some of the judges themselves now have a question mark over them, over the kind of judgments that are delivered, the manner in which some judges make statements, sometimes praising politicians, judges becoming, or chief justices becoming Rajya Sabha MPs within months of their retirement?
We used to call them bandwagon judges in the emergency.
Bandwagon judges.
Yeah, jump on the bandwagon.
So are we back to bandwagon judges?
That's unfair. You see, on both sides, you have to blame both sides. I don't blame one side at all. I blame both sides. I mean, this has been stirring up, and it's something it makes good political mileage, gives good political mileage. That's about all. And I don't think that's good for the country. That's not good for the country.
What would you therefore advise both sides now to do? To step back first?
Yes.
And go into dialogue?
Yes.
Behind closed doors?
Yes.
And you're saying bring back the Venkat Chalaya commission report and go by the bill which suggested that you could have a 5-member commission. Am I right?
And I think the first step, I mean, speaking for myself, I think the law minister was right when he suggested in a letter which came the other day, this was before all this happened, namely that why not have one person who is nominated by the law ministry in the Collegium? I mean, that's what he was suggesting. Yes, all right.
You have no problem with that?
I have no problem with that. I don't think anyone should have any problem. Because, you see, when sitting together, instead of writing letters to one another, whether you should be appointed or I should be appointed or I should not be appointed and you should be appointed, instead of all that, can't we sit across the table and discuss this? It's far better to discuss something.
No, the fear is, of course, that the moment you allow someone who is appointed by the government or nominated by the government on any such body that will appoint judges, then the government has a foot in the door. And right. Once they have a foot in the door, they will break the door open and decide who becomes a judge and who doesn't.
But that's why I said, why not have constitutionally have a commission? That is what was proposed. That's a simple solution. It's not something out of my head. It's something out of somebody else's head, which I am only repeating.
You know, all of this, Mr. Nariman, is happening at a time when public confidence
in the judiciary has
declined.
Diminished. I can see that.
You know, is that something that also troubles you, that, you know, the public out there is seeing judicial delays mounting.
Yeah.
They're seeing judgments, you know, the buzz in the corridors of certain courts certainly is,
yes.
It all depends on which bench you get.
Yes, and my son and your relative and so on.
You see, that's part of the problem. Government also is suggesting that nepotism has grown in the collegium system and a lack of meritocracy.
Maybe. But let's not get, you see, this only means that we are now throwing stones once again at each other.
Yes.
Therefore, there has to be a solution now. I mean, what is the solution? And the quicker we come to a solution, the better. Instead of each of us saying, no, only judges will appoint judges. Because as I told you, I mean, this is a question of angels fear to tread business.
You know, because there are judges who, ironically, were part of the NJC judgment, like Justice Chelameshwar. He says proceedings of the Collegium were absolutely opaque and inaccessible both to the public and history.
Right.
Justice Kurian Joseph, Collegium system lacks transparency, accountability and objectivity. So even former judges of the Supreme Court do not believe it's perfect. Even former CJI, Justice J.S. Verma, author of that 93 judgment that brought in the Collegium
Yes,
system,
was unwell.
has said that he believes
Yes.
that there should be a National Judicial Commission
Yes.
which gives a role to the
He
executive.
was absolutely correct. That's why I said that that will put an end to everything. You see, the rumor is, and everybody thinks the judges are against the National Judicial Commission. Or the public is against the national. Yes, the public wants the National Judicial Commission. The National Judicial Commission was discovered, or rather the idea of it came from a judge, the topmost judge of the country at one time. The government accepted it. Please repeat it. Just follow it.
You're asking Mr. Rijuju to go and read what the Vajpayee government was doing at
Go
the time.
read your bill.
To read your bill, your own bill.